The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beers for sports talking a whole lot more, episode number 376. Tonight's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts, such as Rise to the Occasion, the Sports Stove podcast, and my favorite, as always, the guys over there, Mike, Scott, and Mookie over there at Craft Brewed Sports. Always a good one. They had a good one on Tuesday night. I had a lot of chuckles there with the guys over at Craft Brewed Sports. And thank you very much for everybody who makes us a part of their day each and every day, either on YouTube or on podcast form. Dave, your boy, Jasper Van Robees, he is now I don't want to announce it or how we're gonna say it, but your boy, he helped out around Spitz Stadium this week. He had some time off from school. He came down to Spitz, and he was an employee of the Lethbridge Bulls Baseball Club this week. He was a welcome addition to the family this week and over there at Spitz Stadium.
My boy was more than happy for the opportunity. You and I talked about it last week. I mentioned to you, like, hey, there's no school for kids these days. So if there's anything that can get my kid away from a fucking video game screen for a couple hours a day, that'd be much appreciated. And you obliged. It's a win-win. My son was outside. Well, not outside, inside. He was out of the house.
A little bit of both.
Video games, yeah. And he brought a buddy with him. And from all reports from you and my son, things went swimmingly. No,
it was great. He's more than welcome to be part of the Bulls family all summer long, as long as he's not playing. But we don't take him away from his playing baseball days, because that's the most important thing, get kids playing baseball. But there was a little task that's been driving me nuts for a while since I started with the Bulls back in early January. There is the sign out front out there on the one of the main drags, I guess, in Fort McLeod or Lethbridge, sorry, at Spitz Stadium. It said "Happy Holidays from the Bulls," and it sat there and it sat there and it sat there. And finally yesterday, I had your boy and Sully there to help me out, because it's more than a one-man job, right? I mean, one guy could do it, so it would take a lot longer. So
up and down and
on and this and that. And I said, and the sun was shining, no wind, no snow, it wasn't cold. I said, perfect opportunity for us to go do that. And they were, So I said, here's what we want to say on the board. There's where letters are. Some get blasted by pellet guns. So you run out of those letters. It's one of those things. So so we got one side done, good. Then we ran letters to the other side. But beforehand, I gave Jasper and Sully there, I gave them what we wanted to say. I said, get these letters, and then I said, and then stack them from this letter to that letter. So it's just, you hand me them, and I just put them in. Pretty simple, right? Like, to me, that, and
it sounds simple.
Yeah, but and they were 100% on board. But
both of those are sharp pencils too.
Yeah, yeah. And it was good, and they were like, no, I get it, 100%. They were like, yeah, I get it. So, like, because it was anniversary, so why would it be first? Because I was going from left to right, back and forth, whatever it was. And then so when I was taking the old letters off the board, I was just throwing them on the ground. Well, they stacked them on top of the letters that they had. So then it was, but they didn't stack them in any. They should just left those letters
on the ground.
So should have left them and put the letters they had. So then it was funny. So that they put the letters that were on the original board onto the ones that they arranged, and it turned into a wreck. Like it was quite funny. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't cold and it wasn't windy. I was just like, Yeah, this is dealing with 13-year-olds. It was fine.
I imagine those two knuckleheads.
It just made me laugh.
Because those two knuckleheads, like they're friends, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
well, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, whose fault? Like it's just, probably it turned into a wee thing, not a big thing. But
So what was funny? This perfectly stacked thing of letters that they took time to make sure it was right to not disappoint me. It turned into all over the grass. There was letters everywhere. So then they couldn't find stuff, and it was fun. It was a lot of laughs. We had a good time doing it. I quite appreciated those Sully and Jasper being there around Spitz Stadium the last couple of days. They were a breath of fresh air, because sometimes things can get a little bit heated, as you know, in offices and everything else, and bringing some youthful exuberance in, some different things to realize why we're there and why it's just a game of baseball. It's just sports, and we're having some fun doing it. It was a lot of fun. No, it was a great time.
I'm glad. I'm so glad, because it was a thing you and I talked about last week, and I'll see if I can do something, and you figured it out, and Jasper, and he had a good buddy there with him, and they're both in baseball, and they both have a love for baseball. Working at the park for 2 days, that was right up their fucking alley.
No,
it was being in the park. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we figure out their schedule, and they said they could buy any time and help out whenever they get a chance, they're more than welcome to come to Spitz Stadium. It was a lot of fun. Anyways, Dave, this past weekend, Jaromir Jagrs, it was on Sunday that they think they retired. Finally, after all these years, Jagr hasn't played in the National Hockey League I think his last tour of duty was with the Calgary Flames back in, I don't even know what year it was, but he still plays in Europe, in Slovakia, where he's from, or the Czech Republic, I guess it's called now. So he was there playing hockey, and he's
he plays for the team he owns, and
I think he's 53 years old. But the Penguins finally retired his jersey. Long overdue retiring that guy's jersey, because man, without Jagr, I'm not saying they don't win a cup with Lemieux and Francis and Tom Barrasso and everything else they had going there, but he made winning a cup there in Pittsburgh a lot easier. Was that jersey retirement a little lengthy? A little bit, in your opinion? That should have been done when he was still playing. Maybe one of those deals.
No, you always have to wait till a player retires, right? When I say retired, when he's done in the NHL, you can't retire a guy's jersey.
We know he's playing, but the second he was done playing the NHL, it should have been done.
Yeah, that was a 1-2 year thing, not an 8-year thing. I agree. I completely agree with that. But he hung on too. He totally made a Pete Rose out of this thing. He was the whatever 8 games he played for the Calgary Flames. Come on. Oh, excuse me. He hung on too long, and there was no doubt about that. And so I don't know why Pittsburgh waited so long to retire their jersey, but also the Calgary Flames are retiring Kippersoffs' jersey in 2 weeks, and Kippersoff's been out of the league a lot longer than Jagr has. So when do you
Kippersoff's been out of the league for at least 12 years.
Yeah, for sure. Right? Because they made that cup run in 90 or
04.
2004.
Yeah.
So that's 20 fucking years. And then so he had
holy fuck, I can't. Yeah, you're right. It is.
And
Jesus
so
Christ. Yeah.
And then I believe that was his first year with the Flame. He played 6-7 years after that. So Kippersoff's been out of the league for minimum 10 years. Whereas 6 years ago, Jagr was still playing for the Flames. So I don't know if there is a time frame on when you do that. Maybe Lemieux is a little pissy because he wants Jagr to not. Maybe that's what it took, because I think Lemieux got bought out of the Penguins ownership group, and now that he's out of the ownership group, and it looks like Malkin and Sid aren't going to make the playoffs anymore. So we got to get something here for some good vibrations, maybe. I don't know.
Well, that would have been planned a long ahead of time. Fuck, man, I cannot believe Kippersoffs is not a league. First off, that playoff run was 20 years ago for the Flames, and then you think about Kippersoff, because I don't think he played anywhere else after he left Calgary. I think that was.
Oh no! In fact, he retired because he signed one of these contracts where he was making $6 million, $6 million, $6 million, and the final year of his contract was $1 million. He's like, beep. And I've heard interviews with the barn burner guys and Warner and stuff like that, and it's like there was no way. Like he was like, fuck it, like keep the mill, I'm gone. Like there was no way. That was his plan all along, was to retire.
I respect that. When a guy has 35, 40, 50, 60 sheets in the bank, and when it's over, right? And then you go, you know what? That's it. I'm done. We're not going to win anything. What's $1 million to me? Like that's the interest or whatever investments I hope they made, right? Like obviously, if it was me and you, I'd take $1 million a year to do whatever the fuck they asked me to. Not whatever, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah, there's a lot of
there's a line somewhere before
correct,
but
correct.
But you respect the guy like Kippersoff to say that, like, you know what, I'm good. Like I have this much. I made $6 million, $6 million. I have my legacy.
But he wasn't done. He wasn't washed up by any stretch of the imagination.
But like when I just had enough, I've had enough. Like, and I respect that so much more than guys who hold on, who are stats huggers and everything else, and need to be, because Kippersoff has forgotten about how great, and by playing in Calgary, he's forgotten about a lot how great he was, because Calgary's not really a hockey hotbed. Like obviously in Southern Alberta it is, but across the hockey world, Calgary's pretty much not a forgotten thing, but it's a forgotten thing. And Kippersoff, man, that guy single-handedly almost won a Stanley Cup for the Calgary Flames.
He's Jonathan Quick without the cups, right? But like 7-year run, one of the best goalies in the league. Like Kippersoff played 74, 75 games a year. Like he got a day off a month, and he was okay with it, and he didn't care, and he fucking toiled, and he was awesome. And that's when I was still married to the Oilers too. And I remember talking to my buddy all the time. He's like, Jesus fucking Christ, this Flames team is so bad, but Kipper is so good. Could you imagine him on the Oilers? We had this conversation. Could you imagine? Like he was as good as Hasek for 2 years. He was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Fuck, was he good?
Well, that was when, what was it, Daryl Sutter. I'm actually drinking Sutter beer tonight. It's Sutter original Sutter. Six Sutter shooters from Red Deer, Alberta. The 6 Sutter brothers are on there that are drinking that. And Sutter said back in 2004, want to win, get a fin, right? And one of those things. And you know, he was such a great goaltender, and it gets lost a lot how great he was because the teams weren't very good. Like that guy single-handedly was pulling 12th place teams into playoff races.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
And
again, it gets a ton of credit, which is deserved. But without Kipper, they were fucked. Like I don't care like how good Ginla was. Like it was a 2-person team, and obviously you say it all the time. I'll give me a good goalie, I'll show you a good coach. And Kippersoff was like, he won the Vezina 1 year, should have won the Hart probably 1 year. He was that ridiculously good.
Like you wonder how many guys like Warner might be one of those guys that and he's great. I love listening to him on Barn Burner. He's very just stoic and good and logical and he gets it. Obviously he played in the game. Like you wonder how many guys go to bed at night going, geez, I'm so glad that Mikka Kippersoff was my goaltender. How much money some of these guys make because of their goaltender? Well, you know what I mean? Like how much with like Kipper made, and a lot of goalies, not all, a lot of goalies make a lot of average defensemen a lot of money because they save their asses. right?
Rhett Warner says that like I've heard him say it like, I love a good goalie because you know what a good goalie does? Makes me a lot of money. And so in his first team was Florida. So he went to a Stanley Cup final with Florida and they lost, and they had Ben Beesbrook when he was hot as nails.
Yeah.
And then he was on that Buffalo team that lost to Dallas.
Hasek.
Had Hasek. And then he comes to Calgary, and then he had Kippersoff. He goes like, good goalies make D-man a lot of money. I love a good goalie.
Because a D-man makes a mistake, a goalie makes a save, the mistake goes away. Yeah, it might get talked about downstairs afterwards on the video review with the coaches and on and on and on. But your plus minus doesn't change, whatever it might be, and yeah,
your analytics,
and that's the thing. Now it's different now, Dave, because now you have a projected goal rate and whatever it might be, all the different stats. Back then, 20 years ago, you didn't have those stats. It was plus minus goals for, goals assists, whatever it was. So the expected goal rate wasn't a thing. So like when Warner was on the ice, as long as he didn't get scored on, so somebody might have said, fuck, man, you're lucky. But in general, GMs were going through the list saying, yeah, you're fine. He's good. Not great. He's $2 million a year for 4 years.
Yeah, like 5 on 5.
Instead of playing the AHL for fucking for $80,000 for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Good goalie and good in the room. And Jamie McLennan was on the pod yesterday, and so he's going to be the MC for the Kipper retirement jersey in a week or whatever that. And then so there's just telling having having Rhett Warner and Jamie McLennan in the room. I think that room, and again, who wasn't the glue guy, but he was part of the glue. He was. The single best player on the ice, the two best, Kippersoff and Iginla, wanted to have fun with the rest of the guys, which included people like Noodles and Warner. And so when everybody's doing that,
and Conroy, who's GM now, he was a character guy, and
then Sutter was the coach. He goes, I don't give a fuck, just be ready to play. And if you're ready to play, you guys can do anything you want. Just show up on game time, and that's what they did that year. And I think that would have been such a fun clubhouse to be in, locker room to be in, because you had great character guys, and you had two of the Iginla and Kippersoff were at the actual peak of their powers, and both those guys are ridiculously talented. And I think it would have been a fun place to hang out and go on that cup run.
I was talking to a guy over the weekend about when I was out in Fort McLeod there, and people who listen to the show, they know what I'm talking about, but I want to put it out there. He says that's the one thing he misses about his 20, 30 years ago, because he's been in the game for a long time. I've been around players for a long time, put a lot of guys in the National Hockey League. He says that's the one thing he misses the most about hockey. He says he loves it still. But the one thing he misses from the years gone by is the personalities.
The camaraderie.
The personalities, and going out and having a good time. And, so if a guy goes and drinks a dozen beer one night, the team will they'll hide him in the locker room and say, don't worry, we're going to practice or whatever it might be. Like he said, that's the one thing he misses about is now all these lean diets and the quinoa salads and the drinks and the dust and blah, blah, blah. He says he misses the guy who makes it because he has a personality. He's different. Like he says that's the one thing he misses a lot. You talk about like Warner was really good, and Noodles was really good, but they weren't great. But they had that personality that helped them get to stay in the game for a long time. Noodles will be the first to tell you he wasn't the best goalie in the league.
Oh, he says it every time. Like he guessed what?
Like I've read his book. He's the greatest backup ever. He was best friends with everybody. And he was serviceable when he went in net. He played his 10, because there was one year when he was Luongo's backup in Florida. He played 8 games. When he was Kipper's backup, he played 10. But he was there. He was there to do it, and that's what this guy was talking about over the weekend. He goes, there's not enough of these guys anymore that want to take that role. Everyone thinks they're a superstar now, and they're not. And there were so many more guys back in the day who would just they were just itching to make the league. They would do whatever it took. Now everybody wants to be a superstar. And I think that's the one thing that I notice a lot, especially watching junior hockey. You notice that a lot. Like there's just not a lot of guys who are willing to take that step back, just to play a role on a team.
No, and I hear what you're saying too, but I think once you make the National Hockey League, it's glue guys, and I always bring it back to that St. Louis Blues team. They had a couple of grit grinders on there, and they had some skilled guys on there, and the grit grinders and the emotion of playing a role and figuring it out, and just saying like, we're so lucky to be doing this for a job. Like let's start having some fun and bringing that to the ice and having fun. I don't. Like the players so much these days are now professionals. Like they're contract hires. Like I'm here to do a job. I'm going to do my job, and then I'm going to and then I'm going to do that. And you can't mandate. You can't mandate cohesion. You can't mandate after ice volunteer off ice activities. Hey, let's, we just got bag skated. Let's go to fucking Earl's for a couple jugs of beer and bitch. We're not getting shit-faced, but we're going to sit here and bitch about it. And then maybe we'll talk about our wives and kids and stuff like that. But then now you start caring about each other, which brings itself onto the ice. And I don't know what it's like anymore. But to hear Rhett Warner and McLennan talk about that run the Flames went on, it was clearly there. They had fun on and off the ice.
Like I ran with some of those boys back in the day, back in the early '90s, and it's just different. But it's just like you see guys now. It's just different, and it is, and. There was role players back then. There was a lot more guys who were grit grinders. There was a lot more guys who knew that they weren't going to score 70 in the National Hockey League. Now you get a bunch of kids who flash their jersey and me. Like I hate talking about this all the time, but it's just what it is. It's not just in hockey; it's in every sport.
Well, no, remember that asshole that one afternoon game we went to a Bulls game, and that kid was from Fort McMurray or whatever, and I was giving him shit about his language.
Yeah.
Like you're playing in a Woodbat College League in Lethbridge, Alberta, from Fort McMurray, and then I give him shit about his language, and he goes, "You're paying to watch me play." Like fucking that entitled fucking attitude, yeah. And this was a kid playing college Woodbat League in Lethbridge. What must it be like on the highest scale? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's different, and like I've always wondered how it got to that point. We kind of touched on it a time or two, but not really got into it. I always wondered how it got to that point, like how it got from, because like the guy like Noodles and Warner, like we're talking about, they would be parents of kids who are playing now. So how it went from that to that, I don't get it. I don't understand how it went from one level. I know it's money driven. I 100% get that. You have a young son who's wants to be a professional baseball player and everything else, and one of those things. But you're logical. Like I get that the parents try to do this, but how it went from guys who were, is it just because of the money? Like honestly, it's just because of the money that it's available.
It's not because of the money. It's because of the brass ring, right? Because
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not that's what I mean. Like the brass ring, the carrot's in front of you.
Yes, and now the carrot is anything. So I didn't become a locker room guy by being. Well, I guess I did, but by being the youngest guy on older teams and seeing what locker room guys did, and I being as effervescent as I am, I logged onto them and they like effervescent. You like that
I've
one?
known you for 20 whatever years, and I've never known anybody say Dave Van Robes is effervescent.
I am somewhat effervescent, and and then just but then like those guys that they attract people that like to have a good time attract people that like to have a good time. I do believe in today's generation, it's not about a good time. Like, and a good time might be just, hey, do you want to go back to my room and we'll play Call of Duty or whatever the fuck they're playing, or Fortnite or whatever they're playing right now, right? Because it's like, hey, do you want to sneak out, grab a couple, right? I was the guy at 17 sneaking out and trying to find a beer and going to the hotel bar. Like I did that, not to get hammered, but just to, go out and fucking do something.
That's one thing I learned early when I was playing junior hockey. Like I knew I wasn't good enough to go to that level, right? So I thought, you know what, I'm going to and I wasn't. Yes, there were times where we probably had a couple too many and we were doing whatever we were doing. But in general, I didn't mind going out and having a good time, but it was go time. It was go time. Like I was serious about what I was doing. Like I was serious what I was doing, but like I knew that I was not going to be a Hall of Famer, right? So I was like, let's take advantage of this. Like I was a big fish in a small pond. I was going to have a good time doing it, and there was lots of people. There was lots of people my age who would have, like, hockey play not people, but hockey players my age that would have given their left nut to be in the position that I was in, right? So I was like, if I'm going to do this, let's do it. Like it's going to be fun because it's not going to last forever, right? And I admire NHL guys who think that way. That like I'm not a Hall of Famer. When it's go time, it's go time. I'll go in the fucking sauna and I'll sweat it out and give her. And I don't think guys do that anymore. Like
I think they're just too worried about their career because like the NHL now is
so much money.
There's so much money and it's also youth driven, right? If you're not a solid guy, like maybe you could become a locker room guy on your second contract, and like not be like being a mid player. Like, you just signed a 4-year at three per, something like that. And then you can be a locker room guy. But on your first contract, you can't be a locker room guy. There's
5 guys in college on every college team. There's 20 guys in junior who do the exact same thing you do now.
And there's more and more coming up every year. And why are you asking for a raise? Because this guy will do the exact same job.
And that's the problem. And I just thought of this. That's the problem. Set yourself out. Be better. You're not going to score more goals than Connor Bedard or whoever next year. You're not going to be the rookie of the year next year. Set yourself. Be different than the every other player. Set yourself differently. Get out there and do something different than every other player going up and down the ice, fucking waving their fucking dick at the fucking whatever when they score a goal. Like, set yourself out and be a team guy and do something different, because you know what? That's how you will make a team better. And I think I agree. That's a major problem with professional sports in general, but we're just talking hockey right now.
Glue guys.
Like, be a glue guy. You're not, you scored 140 goals last year playing for the fucking Bantam U16, whatever the fuck. There's 100 of those guys around. 100 of them. In every fucking, every country on this planet. There's 100 of them. Be better. Like, do something that sets you apart, because you're not going to outscore Gretzky, you're not going to outscore Ovechkin, you're not going to outscore Crosby, you're not going to do this, because you're not better than McDavid. So quit trying to be McDavid. You're not better. Like right now, you're not better than fucking Matthews, who just got 50 last night in his 48th game, I think it was. It didn't get talked about. That's fucked up. Matthews got 50 last night. No one's talking about it because it's like
I saw it on my Twitter, man.
But it's not huge, right? Like a guy, when a guy used to get 50, you'd be like, holy fuck. Now it's like, huh.
Well,
50.
50. Well, that's another thing too. My age, right? Because I think I was 14 in Gretzky's rookie year. So from my
50 in 38 in 1982, I think it was.
Yeah. So so from 82 to 90, Gretzky, like you could pencil that in, like Gretzky and Lemieux, like I saw, like it's just being a couple years older than you, like you used to on your mother's
I
feet.
saw it all, yeah.
Well, you heard about it because you honestly were in diapers when Gretzky's first years, like you and I talk about.
I was 5 when in his first year with the Oilers. I was 5, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, but like when it became a thing with the Oilers,
correct. Yes. Yeah, but to my point, you and I are so lucky that we got to see Gretzky. We got to see Lemieux. We got to see Jagr in all their powers. We got to and for basketball, Michael Jordan. We got to see their entire careers. We saw GOATs play from beginning to end. And I don't know if there's ever going to be any GOAT in any league that's better. Like, and people want to say LeBron, fuck that shit. Like, and LeBron's playing a different game than Jordan played. Ovechkin and Crosby are playing a different game than Gretzky played as well.
And McDavid's played different games than all of them.
Correct. Yes.
And we've said it a million times. I've said it a million times. McDavid's the best ever right now. There will be somebody 10 years from now who might be better. Might be. But right now, McDavid's the best ever. He's not the greatest.
But the shit that kid can do is like nobody's ever been able to do in history.
And you can't compare generations, but
But you have to, right?
Well, that's why we have podcasts and stuff. But like the thing that I'm getting at is that like these kids who think that they're going to be all timers and playing in the Western Hockey League or the Quebec League or in college or whatever it might be. I blame the parents a little bit too, is that like find a role, be a role player, man, because you know what, all the best players are already playing and you're not better than them. Find a role, stick to it, you might make some money.
I agree with that, and I also going to disagree with you when you say that everybody thinks they're going to be the greatest. They know. I think they know because, everybody that played against Connor Bedard is like, holy fucking shit. I thought I was good. Like when someone becomes,
but take the ultra stars out of it.
Like, so take Bedard out of it. Take McDavid.
Take McDavid out of it. Take Gretzky out of it. Take Lemieux out of it. Take Jagr out of it. Take Hall. And I'm not
take Hall of Fame. But
I'm not putting Bedard in the Hall of Fame. He's played 48 games, whatever it's been.
Yes.
So, but take those guys out of it.
The phenoms.
Yes. Like, take those guys out of it. Because those guys are special. Like, there seems to be a huge disconnect in the last 10 years or 15 years, whatever it's been, where there's a bunch of parents and people that think that, oh, my kid's, he's a lock. No, man. Because not only do you have to be better than everybody in your group, you have to usurp the people who are already in that group.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like just because you're the best U18 player, there's guys who are U25, aka National Hockey Leaguers, that haven't left yet.
Well, it's the jump from amateur to professional, and like it's the same with the basketball. And I've watched college basketball live. I've watched college football live, and the jump from that to there to the professional ranks is ridiculous. And like Alabama could beat Cleveland anytime. Well, no, they can't. Right? 3 people on Alabama might make let's say 10 people from Alabama might
start.
make the NFL.
Yeah.
Everybody on that team is on the professional team.
Yeah,
Like,
every
so-
Alabama doesn't make the Cleveland Browns. Every Cleveland Browns makes Alabama.
Well, yeah, 10 of us can play in the NFL. Well, all of us played fucking college football. So bring it on. Like, it would be ridiculous. And so anytime anyone brings that on, and then like, so the jump from amateur sport to professional sport is ridiculous. And I don't care what anyone says. 28-year-old strong is a lot stronger than 21-year-old strong.
What's funny? I was
6 feet, 195. Oh, he's the same weight as I am. And they're like, holy fuck, that guy's a lot stronger than me.
As I get older, I back in the old life in construction, I would some 23-year-old kid, I would just pick something up. It's old man strength. It's a thing. It's
a total
old man
thing.
strength is a thing. Because I was laughing at Sully and Jasper today. They had bags full of leaves and stuff at Spitz there, and they're obviously pre-PBS and whatever, all that stuff, and they were just struggling, and I just went like, all right, whatever,
Pick it up.
Yeah, pick it up. Old man strength's a thing,
It's a total thing.
and old man knowledge is a thing. Like and not just like knowledge, but just slow it down. And Jagr and that's why Jagr was so good at an early age. He slowed the game down.
Well, and he also had a superstar in front of him. He had
hurt.
Yeah.
He had
I think
two.
that
Ron Francis wasn't too bad.
Well, exactly. You're right. But Mario was like the heir to Gretzky. So Jagr, for all his skills and scoring prowess, he had Lemieux to look up to, who was a hard worker and a great player and one of the best ever. And then Jagr got to come in underneath him and learn from him and see what he did. And I think Jagr, he fell into a really good place by coming in as number 2 underneath Mario Lemieux.
Who's the Mount Rushmore? If there was only 3 heads on Mount Rushmore of the Pittsburgh Penguins, if you had, you got Lemieux, I'll go look.
Well, Mario 1, Crosby 2.
Crosby's 2 ahead of Jagr?
For sure.
I think Jagger's a better player. But didn't stick around long enough, right?
Well, and then also too, I think, I've heard this in a couple different sports podcasts I've listened to, and I'm going to put it into my words. Either you have passengers or drivers. Mario Lemieux is a driver. Sid Crosby is a driver. Jagr and Malkin are passengers. They can't drive.
Yeah, I guess if you put Malkin on the fucking Ducks.
If he was the best player on any other team, he'd be considered a bust.
Like if Malkin plays for the Anaheim Ducks, doesn't win a cup, he's not considered one of the top 100 players of all time.
Exactly, but unless he played beside
He's
Getzlaf,
a great player.
Because Getzlaf was a driver, right? He needs a driver.
But Malkin's better than Getzlaf.
I completely agree. But I'd rather have Getzlaf than then I don't want Malkin to be my best player. Because then he'll Johnny Gaudreau it. He's Johnny Gaudreau, but Gaudreau, like,
a lot better.
No. Fuck, same.
Malkin?
Yeah, same. Just a little bigger. And he has Sidney Crosby.
Man. Malkin's way. Malkin's an all-timer, man. Malkin's going to Hall of Fame.
I'll take back that Gaudreau comparison.
Yeah, that one was a pretty...
But without Crosby, Malkin, I don't know where I can put him. Like, maybe I'll think of a comparison.
Like Malkin, it doesn't hurt Malkin's legacy that he won Stanley Cups, obviously.
Well, because of Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, like without Malkin, Crosby wins a cup. I'm fairly certain.
Yes, Crosby wins a cup without
100%.
Malkin.
Not 100%.
Malkin, but Malkin doesn't win.
But Malkin 100% doesn't win without Crosby.
No, Malkin's not a driver.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's a Scottie Pippen. Malkin is Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer, Dream Teamer, everything, like got all the accolades. But like you asked him, like the Bulls asked him to do it a couple years without Michael. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Put the driver back on the bus. Like some people just can't drive a bus. Kevin Durant can't drive a bus. He's the best passenger he ever had, but he can't drive a bus. When he's asked to drive the bus, he can't drive the bus.
And that's the thing. These guys who win multiple cups, like Phil Kessel's won a couple of cups and everything else. He's not a bus driver.
He's not a bus driver because Toronto asked him to drive the bus and he couldn't do it.
But he fills in and it's fine. It's just okay.
Yeah.
He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. Like he's a great player, but he's not someone like you look back. You wonder if there's conversations ever. I think of this all the time. Like you wonder if 20 years later, after the drafts are done and GM's careers or whatever, and fucking not Pat Burns, what's his name?
Pat Quinn.
No. Yeah, Pat Quinn sitting around and hair slicked back and everything else, and they go,
"Oh, Mike Keenan."
Like, and they talk about guys they drafted, and they go, "Fuck, that didn't work out very well." I had high hopes. You wonder or Brian Burke. I was thinking of Brian Burke. Like, you wonder if he ever goes, because Burke's a dickhead, so he's not going to say I was
entertaining
wrong.
As shit, but I get it.
He'll never say I was wrong.
So overrated, yeah.
But you wonder if they ever go, fuck. Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad one.
And this is how I think that organizations have to approach the draft. Like, okay, so especially in the first, is this a driver or a passenger? And what do we need? Do we need a driver? Because clearly that the Tkachuk that plays for Florida now.
Yeah, Matthew.
He was driving the Flames and Gaudreau was a passenger. Because like Gaudreau is struggling like shit in Columbus.
He's not worth it.
And Tkachuk is flourishing in Florida. Tkachuk's a driver. He's for sure a driver. McDavid's a driver. Who's the other one? I had another example in my mind.
Is Draisaitl a driver or passenger?
You won't know because they're both so good, right? Same with that's kind of like the Gretzky Lemieux. Those guys are both driving, but it's fine to have two drivers as long as they're going the same way.
Yeah, it's just.
But sometimes you have two drivers that don't get along, and then you have problems.
Like hockey and basketball are very similar in that stature, where you need two guys at least, right?
And the most skilled player on the team might be a passenger.
But you need a guy to get it going a little bit,
right? Yeah.
Like how many one of the greatest hockey players ever to me. I don't think this is debatable. If you want to debate me, I will. But one of the greatest hockey players ever is Scott Niedermayer. But he was never the driver.
I don't know. I don't think he was a driver either. But he was always on the same page. He was the most skilled on the team.
He was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like how many gold medals doesn't Canada win without Niedermayer? Like how many? He won World Juniors. He won Memorial Cups. He won Stanley Cups. He won gold medals. He won Olympics but he was never a driver.
So his contemporary Chris Pronger was a driver.
Pronger was a driver. But that might have something to do with something as simple as you're meant, because I've spilt a couple of beers with Niedermayer over the years. He's quiet. He's a quiet guy, hangs out, whatever, right? So Whereas Pronger is a very boisterous guy, and it's a lot of fun because you don't see Niedermeyer on TV at all because he's like, I did my time. I was good at hockey, and I'm out.
Kind of the Greg Maddux of baseball. Of hockey.
I was good at hockey, and now I don't. I'm retired.
I was as good as it gets, and now I'm gone. And
like I'm good at hockey,
leave me alone,
and I'm done. Like now I'm retired. If we're like an accountant, if they're good at accounting, they retire. It's just over. I don't want to do it anymore. And where Pronger, he was a boisterous guy, and he won Stanley Cups and went this and almost single-handedly took the Oilers to the finals, or the Stanley Cup was 2007, I think it was. Like it's this the skill set. I think what gets lost a lot, Dave, and we'll go back to where we first started this, the personality gets lost in this compared to
intangibles mean so much to a team dynamic.
You could be the best player, the best player in a team, and have no personality. Like Crosby, he's not a personable guy.
No.
So then you have the secondary guys who have personality who just bring it together. And then you have guys like backup goalies who are just actually bring it together and say, let's go for beers. Fuck it. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's building a team's got to be a tough thing. And that's the thing that it'd be fun to do, but it'd be hard to do because you don't know how it's going to.
You just don't know because when you construct a team, clearly these people aren't idiots. You need, in hockey, and that's what we're talking about, you need team leaders.
Yeah.
And your leaders need to be highly skilled, preferably the best skilled person on the team. And then also someone who's good in the locker room and can relay the coach's message. And then a C bonus is like, hey, let's go for a quick pint. I don't give a fuck what coach says. Like a pint.
You just wonder if they take that consideration anymore, because I can't think of one baseball team that spent the most money that won. Like hockey teams, like the Vegas Golden Knights.
Well, Texas gave it a fucking rip this year. I get it, they won. And they didn't give a shit about they signed.
But then the guys who were DeGrom was out, so that didn't even factor into it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they weren't afraid to spend a couple bucks, and so.
I mean, the Yankees try and they lose every.
But does that anyone that sends Chapman doesn't give a fuck about team chemistry?
Yeah, you
right?
just wonder if when all the hats are sitting around their boardroom and throwing their 2 cents in, do they go? Is he a good guy? Does the good guy factor come into it? I'm not talking about fucking the bad shit. I'm not talking about
the actual criminal stuff. We're talking about just intangibles. What's he like? What's he like in the locker room?
Is he a prick? Is he a good guy?
What's he going to bring?
His wife nice? Is this what's he bringing up? Is it going to be a lot of fun to have him run the field?
I
would hope that would be part of it.
I would think they would ask these there, because if you're going to bring a playoff someone in for a playoff run, I can't think of a name right now, but who has Evander Kane. Let's pretend it was Evander Kane 4 years ago with the Sharks, right? Are you going to bring him for a playoff run? The Sharks teammates said, get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And the Sharks paid him to go
in Winnipeg, threw him in the shower.
Yeah, really exactly. We heard the showers. And this is the guy we want to bring in for a playoff run. So what? Where's the care? Where's the win-loss? Well, we got a strong leadership group, but if you don't have that strong leadership group and you're just looking at his on-ice potential, you're going to get your fucking ass. I think this is part of the Columbus Blue Jackets problem, right? They brought in Goudreau, and then they brought in Laine, who both have been. Goudreau fucked the Flames over by not telling him he was going to sign someplace else, and Laine is was a putty pants in Winnipeg until he got out, and now he's not performing on this contract.
And he's got some stuff between his ears right now too. But yeah,
clearly,
I agree with you.
It's just shit. Like, are you driving the bus or are you a passenger on the bus? Because if you have a driver, then you can be ridiculously good as a passenger. But the second you like the Huberto, I don't know if he was a driver in Florida, but he's definitely not. He's not showing he has any driving capability in Calgary. It's weird. Like Kevin Durant, one of the best basketball players on the planet, can't win on his own. He needs help. He needs someone else to drive, and which isn't a bad thing. Like Jari Kurri, would he even have a career without Wayne Gretzky? I don't know. He was never asked to drive, and why would you drive if you're not asked to drive?
That's funny, because Curry's considered an all-time great, and he's from Finland and everything. But he probably got 800 points because of Gretzky.
Oh, for sure. Like, and they were good. Like they were symbiotic.
Or did Gretzky get 800 points because of Curry?
You don't believe that for a millisecond.
No, because if you had
fuck that shit.
Hear me out. If Jari Kurri isn't Gretzky's line mate in Edmonton, and Mark Messier is, Gretzky's points totals aren't that high.
I'm going to disagree.
Because Messier they were different players.
Without a doubt. But, when you have someone that can put it on a tee for you and you have it figured out.
Gretzky made Curry better and Curry made Gretzky better. I don't think Gretzky would have made Messier better or Messier would made Gretzky better.
If it wasn't Curry and it would have been someone else, I'm going to say this name to you. I'm going to say, Jumbo Joe Thornton. How much money did he make those fucking guys that played on his wing there was three guys. There was that native guy.
Choo-Choo.
There was Chichu,
yeah.
Whatever. And then he went and signed with Minnesota and he went from 40 goals a year to 5.
Yeah.
And then there was someone else. I want to even say Danny Heatley had a cup of coffee with him or something like that. Like Joe Thornton was the Mikka Kippersoffs of defensemen. He made guys a lot of fucking money.
Thornton played center, but yeah, it's just...
Yeah, no, but he was a center man. Like Thornton would have 78 assists and 7 goals.
No,
right?
Yeah.
So like Thornton was a driver.
I'm not disregarding Gretzky's fucking prowess. I'm not.
It would have been someone else. And Joe Thornton wasn't as good as Gretzky, and Joe Thornton made like 6-7 guys. Different guys, a lot of money on their free agent contract.
You think Gretzky would have got the same amount of points if he was playing the line with Messier? Because Messier's a dickhead.
Oh, no. For sure. Messier's not a dickhead. Messier's a centerman. And they kept him apart, except when they had to. I know you don't like Messier. They're like a different style of play, but like Wayne Gretzky was the single best passer ever. I could have put 20 on the board, not goals, points, by playing with Gretzky.
Yeah.
Like, and like he was the single best passer ever. Like, fuck. You get tripped and it'll fall. It will go in off your ass.
Well, he wasn't a bad goal scorer. 894 is still a record. Like he was.
I know, and it's ridiculous. Like
Gretzky has less goals, for sure, if he was playing with Messier.
But then it would have been somebody else. Like someone else would be famous now, as opposed to Jari Kurri. Honestly.
Maybe it's hard to. I mean, yeah,
I don't think it is hard. Like Gretzky was the single best passer in the history of
the best ever. Like,
yeah,
I'm not what for 1 second saying that Wayne Gretzky's a bad player.
But Jari Kurri, we wouldn't even know his name if he wasn't on the Oilers with Gretzky. Like because like when you think of it, like I would assume that I'd be surprised if it was less than 80% Curry goals had a Gretzky assist on it. Curry wasn't a playmaker. He was a finisher.
Want to win, get a fin. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Beers Sports, talking a whole lot more. This segment's brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today, and save you $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek. I can see your eyes rolling, Dave. Say something. Say it.
I got one more name for you, and then we'll finish this.
Yeah.
Driver or passenger? Brett Hull.
Passenger.
I agree. And so he's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. Passenger. Can't drive the bus.
Brett Hull might be the second most pure goal scorer of all time, behind Ovechkin.
Well, it's the same one-trick pony, right? Hang out by the face-off circle and out.
Brett Hull's really he can score.
One-trick ponies, and it's a trick that everybody would want to do, and you can do it.
Yeah,
but one-trick ponies.
I mean, it's crazy. Like you think, there's a reason why the Flames said, okay, well we'll because we'll get this in next segment, but like when you go for it and you draft a guy that's supposed to be an all-timer and we get rid of him to win a cup, that says he's a passenger, right? But
he was also young, right?
But young, but when you draft a guy, you project.
So think about it, like if I'm recalling this trade, it was Brett Hull and change for Doug Gilmour and change. Flames won that trade.
There was Rick Wamsley, Rick Natras to St. Louis.
And Brett Hull.
And Gilmour.
Gilmour came back.
Yeah. Gilmour there was just, so.
Yeah. It was Gilmour, but like Brett Hull was nothing at the time.
But they projected to be pretty high.
Yeah. But, so Flames won that trade because they won the cup, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And who knew Brett Hull would be as great a passenger as he was? But like, Bucker can 1T clap it.
Dude could score. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Bears Sports, talking a whole lot more.
Are you thinking of going to a game or a concert in the coming days ahead, or do you already have tickets and want to upgrade where you're sitting? It's simple. Go to SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app. They have tickets for all sports going on right now, as well as concert tickets to shows throughout North America. And to make things even better, use promo code 1420pod, that's 1420pod, and receive $20 off your first purchase. Once again, that's promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, Four Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Dave and I got rambling on off air a little bit about drivers and passengers and whatever we were calling it, and we got realizing that building a team is tough. Like, it's really tough, and you got things going on that you draft your team, you draft guys, and you hope they're all-time greats, and usually they're not. But there's times you can draft players, but no matter what sport it is, and they become guys that become serviceable to what you were building, and whether they figure out it's one of those things where it happens, or whether a guy falls into a role. But we were laughing about a few things off air there, Dave. Like like those Detroit Red Wings teams back in '97 through about 2002 with Steve Yzerman and Nick Lidstrom, and then guys were joining in like Brett Hull, on and on it goes. And it's quite funny that these all-time greats wouldn't have been all-time greats without the actual all-time greats.
Well, you think about those cup chasers in Detroit, right? Like, so Brett Hull, Luc Robitaille, Dominic Hasek, Chelios, like they all came there chasing cups, and you know what? These were all drivers on their original team.
That teams didn't win.
Yeah, but they came back to be passengers on a team like driven by Steve Yzerman. Like I know they like when Detroit started winning their cup, Steve Yzerman wasn't the most talented person on the team, but he had dragged that team on his back for so many years, and he was willing to take a role.
You think back to the North Division back in the early 90s
when the Oilers were running roughshod, like it was hilarious.
Like the North Division was just absolutely atrocious with the Leafs and the
Leafs
and the Blues and on it went. And you go like, how about? And Yzerman had a rough start to his career, and he was racking up huge points. Huge.
He was a driver. Yeah,
huge every year. And then when Yzerman's point total started going down, that's when that team started winning, because he goes, okay, I got to take a step back. We need more than just me. We need more than just me to win something, and it worked. And
they won with the Russians, and then it became a thing, like, you know, with the no salary cap and people like Brett Hall and Robitaille, they wanted to come to Detroit to win a cup because it was pretty much a fucking 50-50 chance there for a while there.
It was a chance they were getting to either the conference finals or finals, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's if you like, and you and I were saying off air, it's like off air, it's okay to have more than one driver on the team as long as everybody's has the same map and the same destination. But you know, you said I like what you said.
I don't know about that.
There's only one set of keys. Well, like clearly, Messi,
I don't know about that for the simple fact there's one set of keys.
There's one set of keys.
There has to be a leader, whether it be the coach or the and not so much the coach or the manager, whether it be hockey, baseball, or football. Basketball, that we know who has the keys there, all of them, so it never works. But
they were coming to Yzerman's bus, right? And you know,
like you need to have a definite process and what we're doing here. And every free agent you get, there has to be a meeting that says, like, who was Steve Yzerman back in the 90s with the Red Wings. He was probably involved in every single free agent signing. Like a phone, whether it be a phone call, texting was just getting into the thing back then. Guarantee he would have to been involved in that. Like, are you about us or about you?
I remember that I heard an interview with somebody, whatever, like when Brett Hall came to Detroit and said, like, hey man, like, and then I don't know who it was, but it was a player on the team.
Yeah.
And so Brett Hall phoned him and like, oh, just tell him to fucking sign me. Come on, I want to win a cup with you guys. He goes, no, I don't think you understand, Brett. Like,
how this works.
You got to play fucking D. Like, you got to come back. You got to do this. You got to do that. He goes, I'll do everything I can. I promise. I promise. I promise. And the guy was like, if you fuck me over, Hall, I will never speak to you again. And then this guy vouched for him and said, Brett says he's going to do everything. And he did. He did everything that was asked for him. He like, his offensive protection was down, but he got his fucking ring with the Detroit Red Wings. And both, like, the player that vouched for him and Brett Hall, like they're both thankful for it.
So, and that's, you got to have one guy who's in charge. And like, you can have agents talking to coaches and agents talking to managers and whatever it might be. But eventually, at the end of the day, it's the players who are playing the fucking game.
Words are words, right? Like, you know, actions have to speak. And like, and the problem with professional sports is you told me you would do this in fucking on May 10th. And now here we are in fucking middle of December, and you don't want to fucking back check anymore.
And now we're not.
And now we're in.
So I vouch for you.
Yeah. So now we're in $3 million
I'm
for
the asshole.
next 3 years. Yeah. You fucking prick.
And I wanted to win, so I only have X amount of years in my
yeah, exactly. Like, you, like, this is what we got to do to win, and you said yes, I want to win, but then you realized how much fucking work it was.
But on the other hand, I think that's where today's athlete and yesterday's
Old school,
athlete,
new school.
old school guys are like, okay, I want to win. New school guys are totally me, and my brand.
I hear what you're saying there, but
we're hacking on fucking old young kids now.
No, but the new schools are going to be 29, not too far ago. Like you think someone I'm going to pick on Goudreau again because when he's done it in Columbus,
that's it.
Yeah, and he's still going to have a talent. Like he has great skills. He has, but he's not the driver, and we know
this.
A
14-year career did fucking nothing.
But once you hit 29, Jesus Christ, I'm 4 years away from being out of this game. Am I gonna just sign 2-year deals, or do I want to fucking grab a ring and be a part of grabbing a ring? And listen to the driver and do what I'm told and not just fucking cash paycheck.
What I would like to ask, next time Jasper comes by the stadium there over at Spitz there, I'd like to ask him, I said, what without your influence, I'd like to ask him, I said, what's bigger? Because he wants to be a pitcher, I think, right? Correct?
He's bouncing between pitcher catcher right now. Yeah.
He's throwing a little bit, but win a Cy Young or a World Series? And I'm not going to pick on your son, but what's bigger? And I think that has changed over the years. That a lot of guys are, because everybody wins an award and the stuff. Whereas winning a team championship has kind of gotten lost in the mix a little bit. Yes, when they win, they're 100% excited. Like when you see a team, like when the Vegas Golden Knights won the Golden or the Stanley Cup last year, they were happy, obviously. But have the personal accolades jumped up a little bit?
I'm not going to say that. I'm saying the personal accolades are very important because the understanding. There's only one team that can win every year, and the best championships are the first championships, right? So when the Oilers were winning all theirs, when Colorado was winning all theirs, and Detroit was winning all theirs, there was guys on that team that was their third, fourth, but there was also guys on that team that was their first. Yeah, and I think you always remember your first. I think St. Louis has such a special place in the heart because A, they were a great team that was playing for each other, and B, it was the first one for the franchise, right? Chicago, it was the first one in for fucking ever. The Rangers won their first one. The first one, the Vegas was their first one. The first one just sits nicer. And then any time, someone's interviewing someone that has 4 or 5 rings, which one's your favorite one? And if they say if they don't say the first, I know they're fucking lying. It's the first. It's the first. Yeah, everybody remembers their cherry. Right.
I've wondered in the last, since I've been around baseball in the last, since 2019 when I got back into it again a little bit, I've always wondered what the end result is, like with players or parents or what's your end result? Like, is it obviously
what do you want out of this?
Like because when I was playing street hockey in front of 552 22nd Street from Alberta, we used to celebrate when Stanley Cup. Like you'd win that little tournament, the 3-on-3, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. There was And
you had your scenarios. Bottom of the ninth.
Scenarios.
You
win this,
2-1,
and you win a Stanley Cup or on the outdoor rink
for the greatest world championship ever in the history of the world.
So it was never I scored the most goals. It was like I won a championship. I won a championship. I won a championship.
No one was at the plate saying for the World Series MVP trophy.
Yeah,
no one was saying for that.
I wonder if that's the same thing. Like I just wonder. I'm curious about that.
I don't know if they play those games anymore, actually, to get out in the field and do kind of shit like that and put themselves in the position. I think their position is just like, get better, quick back. You dropped your elbow. You did this, you did that. It's like it's constant self-correction because so many people are in their fucking heads. And I don't know where they're having fun with the game anymore. And I get it. They might have fun. And I don't know. I'm just making shit up as I'm talking.
Maybe that's Jasper's fun. But I tell you what, I think I won 75 Stanley Cups and at least 102 World Series in my parents' backyard.
We actually do have video of Jasper saying that kind of stuff, but like he was like honestly 10 years old anymore. Yeah. And so when he does it anymore, like I'm honestly not with him anymore because he's actually doing this. Like, this is what you have to do. Like he's at fucking Handicap. He's at YQL twice a week, and he's doing those things, and he's doing it in his mind that way.
I don't know.
It's a different world. It's such a different world. And I don't know. And I don't get it because, heaven forbid, when I was his age, honestly, I was on my fucking 10-speed driving to practice, riding my bike to practices. It would be a 10-minute bike ride, which is, a distance. It's only 10 minutes and it was a different time. But fuck that. Like, it's probably an 8-minute bike ride for him to go to Dave Elton there. And like heaven forbid, like he puts his fucking backpack on and bikes to practice. Like this, it's just not done anymore. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's softer. I don't know if we're safer. I don't know if we're more conscientious. I don't know. But I honestly had to put more physical effort into my participation of sports.
Yeah.
Than my son did. Like to get there, not the actual physicality of being there. I know he's doing his part when he's there, but to get my ass there, I like when I was his age, I was biking all across the fucking town refereeing soccer games to make a couple bucks so I can go to the fucking movies.
You bring that up, and this is a great conversation. If anyone listens, I don't give a shit, but it's a great conversation because what I'm dealing with now with the Bulls and baseball and blah, 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 and looking back how I played years and years and years ago. I don't think, yes, there were people who were better than me, but the effort I put in to get to where I was, I take some solace and some pride in that. I'm backing up what you just mentioned there. Like
I was part of the game, and I was doing my part.
I had to do my shit, and I did it on my own. I didn't have a personal trainer. I didn't have this and that and blah, blah. Like I did my shit, and I was part of it. Like yeah, so it's yeah, and that's why when I look back on guys like 30, 40, 50 years ago who made it, they did it on their own. There was no fucking camps. There was no fucking hitting clinics. There was no YouTube. There was none of it, right? Like there was no extra money around. There was none of it. Like it was just one of those things. So I take I personally take a little pride in how far I got in the world of sports, and then now you can kind of pay your way into the world of sports. You still have to have a talent,
and you need to drive, and you need to do it.
No, you do.
But like there's a large section of society that is we're never going to see 60% of the population have a chance of playing professional hockey. Zero.
Like you wonder This is a fun conversation, I think. I don't know, whatever. No one listens, I don't care. But you wonder if...
I said professional hockey, professional sports, unless you're from the Latin American countries and you have a chance of playing baseball.
Well, yeah, they play baseball with cardboard and fucking peanuts.
Yeah, and the Major League rules have just... Well, that's in a different show. But nonetheless,
But
let's say...
yeah. It's you wonder that if there's a kid who's financially not there, whose family's not there, you wonder how many of those have slipped through the cracks who will never get found because they couldn't do it.
Oh,
right. Like
yeah.
Like how many guys are like how many Willie Mays are out there that never get out there, and yeah, I've wondered that a lot.
It's all the time, and I want the sports where they don't slip through the cracks are sports that are you need the most minimal amount of equipment, and that's why they can find so many Latin American players and stuff like that. But in baseball, there's opportunities and you can get your scholarships, and someone else is paying for it. But once you have to start paying, and the same with basketball, right? Kids that are recognized in elementary school and junior high are now guided towards prep scholars, prep places, and it's funneled. I don't know how football works because I don't know how football works, but in hockey,
it's high school.
Unless you're hockey and you're willing to dish a crazy amount of money per year from the age of 14 up. It's impossible. It's impossible to be a hockey player in North America without having, honestly, $20,000 a year to spend.
Throw away.
To spend. Whatever. If you have $20,000 a year disposable income, then your kid has a chance of playing in the NHL.
Let's lighten things up a little bit here. It's got a little bit deep, but it's a funny little story about spending money and hockey and parents and kids. But on Friday night in Fort McLeod there, TJ Larson, friend of the show.
I like TJ. Yeah.
Great guy.
Grows the best mustache, the Movember mustache I've ever seen in my entire life.
No, TJ's fantastic. So I was upstairs in the rink in Fort McLeod there, and he says... Duskin, you got a second? I said, TJ, I got nothing but time for you. I said, whatever. He goes, what was it like playing in Bonnyville? I said, TJ, it was 30 fucking years ago, man. He goes, well, they're calling Cole and the scouts are calling me. I said, I'm fairly certain things have changed a little bit in Bonnyville. I said, I could probably tell Cohen what bars to go to because some were still there, but I was like, Jesus, man. It's fine. He'll be fine. And that's the pressure parents have.
And Cohen is in but what grade is he in?
10.
No chance I would send my kid away to play in Bonnyville. Where's the growing opportunity? Where's the opportunity there?
AJHL scholarships, things and stuff, and
yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah, I get it. I know I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would it's not processing his hockey journey. I'm sure he can go away when he's in grade 12 and play someplace else and do something like that.
Also, you're a little late.
But then now you're sending them off to university, right?
Yeah. But
I don't
that university thing.
I don't know if I'd want my kid to go away and miss school to play hockey in a billet's house and spend 20 hours a week on the bus. I would never do that at the age of 16.
I tell you what. I had a pretty good time.
I'm not saying you didn't, and I'm not saying it turns you it made you a bad person. But, and fuck you, like Steve wanted you out of the house so bad.
Oh yeah. No, there's no getting around that. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
And then once again, this is like we're talking.
But it's also 30 years ago.
30 years ago, it was a total different time, right? To he's not hanging out now with the guys and stuff like that. He's now playing video games and watching fucking YouTube on the bus. And what are they doing? We played fucking Dutch Chase in the back of the bus and stuff like that. And
there was a different time.
It was. You can't play poker on the bus anymore. You can't do this. You can't do that. It was different, and I'm not saying it's just different.
Different. Anyway, Dave, we went from one end to the other of the spectrum tonight, but let's finish it up with a little who is better. Ready to go?
Okay. Yep.
Dave, who is better? Meg Ryan or celebrated his 48th birthday yesterday, former Edmonton Oilers captain Ryan Smith?
Meg Ryan by a fucking landslide. Meg Ryan. A
landslide.
A landslide for this guy. I like Meg Ryan. Like I remember talking about it on a podcast. I would cut pictures out of Rolling Stone and stuff like that. Meg Ryan was my girl, with the curly hair, and she was so cute. I had such a huge crush on her. I had this perfect picture of her that I had in my house in Lethbridge. And then when I moved to Victoria to go to university, I brought that picture and the exact same picture. And I hung it right by my light thing. Ryan Smith is fucking way overrated. Most overrated person ever in the history of hockey.
My heart just broke.
I've never liked Ryan Smith. I've never liked Ryan Smith. In fact, I was kind of on Kevin Lowe's side when they traded him to the Islanders. And until I found out it was over $25,000, then I got mad at Kevin Lowe.
That breaks my heart a little, Dave.
Ryan Smith is the most overrated player ever.
Sixth overall out of Moose Jaw.
Banff, Alberta, 50 goals one year. I don't know how the
highest was 39.
Oh, sorry. I thought he had a 50-goal year.
No.
He got uglier every year, but he did the hard work, and he was a team guy, and he bled other blue, but I just never liked Ryan Smith. I couldn't believe he made Team Canada. Captain Canada. Well, yeah, that's because the Oilers never made the fucking playoffs. Did he get a gold medal? Was he on one of the Olympic teams?
He was on the O2 team. That's near and dear to my heart. So.
Oh, okay. But
every one of those guys, except for Theron Fleury, is a Hall of Famer in my eyes. But one of those things.
No, I don't think. I don't like Ryan Smith.
What do they call a little aside? I am embarrassed as a Canadian that Theron Fleury was allowed to be on that fucking team in 2002. They should find a way to erase that entire fucking bullshit.
Alan Eagleson, his ass. Yep.
Just find a way to cut him out of every fucking video, whatever it might be. Because that guy's a fuckhead. But we don't get into that here.
I like Doug Weight more than I like Ryan Smith.
I love Doug Weight.
I like Bill Guerin more than, as an Oiler, I like Bill Guerin more than I like Ryan Smith.
Who was the couple defensemen there?
Boris Mironov.
Bobo. Great big shot in the point.
Yeah. Eric Brewer.
Brewer's on that O2 team.
Yeah. Better than Ryan Smith. Tom Pody.
Pody's not better than Ryan Smith.
As an Oiler?
Pody's not better than me.
Okay.
Very good.
Who was that fucking... who's the guy, that tough guy we had? Marchand?
Todd Marchand?
Yeah.
Fast.
No, he had wheels. Him. Who's better, him or Ryan Smith?
Ryan Smith.
Rafi Torres.
Ryan Smith.
Steve Sales. Cujo. Tomicello.
Cujo.
No, but Ryan Smith is the comparison.
Still Cujo.
So there's a lot of guys that you like better than Ryan Smith as Oilers.
But the thing was like, and that's why I wanted to get to that earlier on, but we didn't. But the thing about all these guys who are great players, and we talked about earlier with Kippersoff, without a good goalie, you're not a good player.
Right, but
those Oiler teams were horseshit, absolute horseshit.
But they had grit, and they had
Curtis Joseph in net.
Yeah.
Without Joseph in net, they don't do fuck all. Like nothing.
I will disagree with that.
And actually, if you want to get into brass tacks, they actually didn't do anything. They won one round each year.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They didn't
do fuck all.
Because that's my point. I was talking about that with everybody
until that 2004 team that went to the finals without Joseph, but we're talking about the 97-98 teams that won a round because they beat Colorado one year and they beat Dallas
I was there with you.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. Yeah.
They weren't. Yeah. So they lost.
It was Dallas or Colorado.
And they lost. 1 year they beat Colorado. They lost second round.
They had to face Dallas, and then the next year they would beat Dallas, and then they'd lose to Colorado.
But that 04 team, when they had a fucking backup goalie, fucking Dwayne Rollison, fucking whatever,
terrible, and that's when the cracks. That's of the divorce. That's when it started happening. But I'll tell you about this. So those teams that that when I was going to Edmonton to watch those playoff games, and they were always against Colorado or Dallas. It was always against Colorado or Dallas. And you'd watch them play, and I had so much respect for Colorado's game. I never had respect for Dallas's game. And like that Ken Hitchcock and Brett Hall.
You hated Hatcher.
Oh, and I fucking hated Hatcher. And that Zubov, who was fucking all world. He's probably one of the most underrated.
Good player, man.
He was Lidstrom before.
Actually, you know
Lidstrom.
what? I said something wrong. Zubov's a great player.
He's I hope that guy's in the Hall of Fame because he never made a fucking mistake.
Yeah.
Like you watch guys on the ice and they just never made a fucking mistake. He's in the same area code as Lidstrom, Niedermeyer, and Borg. Like
actually right. I think you're right. I think you're actually right.
He's in that zip code. I'm not going to rank him. I'm not going to say this, but like, fuck, that guy was good. Never made a mistake.
Niedermeyer's better than Borg.
I believe so. I think Niedermeyer is my favorite D-man of all time.
I fucking love Niedermeyer.
Oh, God. He made it look so easy. When you make a game look so easy that zillions of people are trying to...
And when you're so good, when you're so good and you say, I'll come here, but my brother's coming too because we're going to win a cup. Like,
the only reason I'm going to play for you if you sign my brother too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Dave, who is better? Kiss, singing Beth, or Canada's sweetheart for the 1988 Olympics, Elizabeth Manley?
Elizabeth Manley. You know, I like Kiss, and I don't mind Kiss. I've seen Kiss live. I had a fucking great time. I've seen Kiss live twice.
I'm 6 times, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them twice. You know what? I saw the same show twice, you know, and that's what kind of...
I've seen some different ones.
Annoyed me.
My first rock show was in 1983 at the Sportsplex here in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Oh, so with no makeup, with probably like what, Helix or Red Wine or something like that?
I think Helix was the opener, yeah. Singing "Give Me an Arm," yeah.
Yeah. So, without a doubt, I'm gonna say Liz Manley.
She was cute.
She was cute, and she was plucky. She was so plucky, and it was her, Katarina Witt, and Debbie Reynolds. Is that the
I think you're
the
close.
American skater? Yeah, it's Debbie something, but nonetheless,
Katarina Witt was a handsome woman.
Oh
yeah.
God!
And that was right when things started to twitch.
That was in Calgary. Like, yes, you bet.
Yeah, because I would have been 88, so I would have been I was 13, turning 14. And that's when the Levi's started to twitch a little bit. And Katarina Witt
yeah, there was some tinty pants around Katarina Witt when she was on the thing. And Liz Manley was a Canadian. And I had family that was in the figure skating world in Calgary that kind of had like connection. I won't say connections, but I know what was happening backstage and that kind of thing. Even as an 18-year-old, it was weird. I thought I would have connections for my entire life because it was so easy at that time. But nonetheless, Liz Manley over who was
Beth,
the other one?
Kiss.
Yeah, fuck Beth Kiss. You know,
I don't like that song.
No, it was kind of cool.
I like Kiss songs, but I don't like Beth.
Yeah, because you know the very first time I heard it when I was probably about 16, 17. What? This is Kiss? You know? This is Kiss. And then you hear it again.
Kiss, I want to shout it out loud and party every day.
Right, that's what Kiss is about. And fucking Peter Criss, you can fuck off because you're now just you're an employee of Kiss. He's not even a Kiss member. Did you know that?
There's issues and grievances for sure.
Okay, I'm not going to get into it.
Dave, who is better? Uncle Joey, Dave Coulier from Full House, or 2004 stolen base, Yankees, Red Sox, current manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dave Roberts?
I'm going to have to say Dave Roberts because, I never really did like I never did watch Full House. I was too old for that. It'd be creepy. And then he did some shit with he took over from on America's Funniest Home Videos or something like that. I imagine seeing him all over the place. Dave Roberts, you know, just good ball player. Stole a World Series from the Yankees, which gives him a little bit of joy in my heart. So I'll say Dave Roberts.
You know, the thing about, like, I'm obviously a Yankees guy, but I couldn't imagine, because he was a bit player,
total bit player
in his career. He changed, like, he is a part of not just Red Sox history, baseball history with one stolen base.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't imagine. He never has to buy a drink in Boston ever again, or a meal, or what. I couldn't imagine something that. And that,
if he would,
and that's what makes sports so great. Like, there are people who know exactly where they were watching. What I know where I was when Roberts stole that base, and it was a close play. Like, Posada almost threw him out.
Oh yeah,
it was close. Posada,
sure.
Jeter, bang. It was a bang. It was a whacker, and I couldn't imagine that. Like, I can't even speak right now. Like, how that would have been. Like, how great that moment was when he stole that base, and the way that turned that series around.
If he would have got not picked off, if he would have got tagged out, we would never know his name.
Never know his name.
If he got tagged out,
he wouldn't be manager of the Dodgers right now.
Right, like, you know, and Boston doesn't break the curse.
Doesn't win the World Series, and on it goes.
And there's one more for you, Yankees.
He should be the most, like, Tom Brady aside, he should be, and I don't give a fuck. The Red Sox are way bigger than the Patriots, in my opinion. I'm a baseball guy. I get it. if he gets thrown out there, nothing. But that changed the course of history.
If he gets thrown out,
that's historic.
Is Ortiz in the Hall of Fame?
No.
If he gets thrown out there, Ortiz is not in the Hall of Fame.
None of them.
No.
None of it.
Like, and it's ridiculous.
Dave Roberts should be the mayor of Boston.
Well, I think I'd rather be the manager of the Dodgers than the mayor of Boston, to tell you the truth.
Well, there's problems right now, but yeah, it's just it's crazy how
a moment in time,
changed a bunch of moments in time.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I love sports.
That was a literal momentum changer, right?
all of it.
Yeah, it's coming towards you, and then it comes either together or it departs.
All of it.
It's
just
yes.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy. If he gets thrown out, we're like, all right, Yankees won another one.
Yeah, like not right now, but really quick.
Oh man, no, I remember exactly where it was, and he stole that base, and I was like, oh, we're fucked. I said that we're fucked. We're not winning because crazy.
Well, that's the way you think, though, right?
Well, I'm been negative point. Last one, Dave. Who is better, Cody Bellinger or Buffalo Bill Cody? And what I'm reaching for is your days at Buffalo Bills.
Don't worry, brother. I was just collecting my thoughts. Cody Bellinger, the baseball
he's
player,
got an MVP,
yeah, he's done all right. Is he still a free agent or yeah? So maybe
all those Boris guys haven't signed yet.
Yeah, so they're just holding out and figuring it out. It's like we won't get into that. Cody Bellinger, hell of a baseball player, MVP, looking for a deal. Don't know when he gets paid. The simple fact that someone was plying his craft in 1876, and we still know his name, Bill Cody, Buffalo Bills, as Brent alluded to. I worked at a restaurant called Buffalo Bills when I was 14 to 17. I rode my 10-speed there in fucking shit kickers. For those of you guys who don't know what shit kickers are, those are cowboy boots.
So what was your costume?
A plaid shirt and shit kickers. That's it. Plaid shirt and shit kickers. Meaning, my $4 an hour. $4 an hour, and I was happy to do it. I fucking pedaled my ass. And minimum wage at that time was like $3.25. It was so low. I can't imagine working for $4. I don't even get my fucking head off the pillow for $4 these days.
We were.
Right?
We'll get back to me and Paul Hardy were talking about. It's a funny story, but we won't get into the nuts and bolts of it. But we talked because he was a lifeguard at the pool at Fort McLeod back in the same era we're talking about. And he says, yeah, I think I was getting, to save lives, I think I was getting $5.25 an hour.
Life was so cheap. Life was so cheap back then, but obviously gas wasn't crazy and stuff. Buffalo Bill Cody, Buffalo Bill, but Bill Cody is my guy. Because there was pictures of him, I can actually see him, and Cody Bellinger, big deal. I don't know if he was a driver or a passenger. It doesn't matter to me. Buffalo Bill to me will always be. It was my first job, and I had it for 3.5 years as a busboy at a Chuck E. Cheese. And you tell anyone in Lethbridge that was born and raised in Lethbridge, Buffalo Bills around Brett and I, they know exactly what it was, and it was the cool place to work, and I had a lot of fun.
There's a good chance that I was sitting at a table at one point
There's no doubt.
That you put a pizza on my parents' table with me.
No, I cleaned your table. I was a busboy.
Or your busboy. There's no way you weren't. Yeah, no way.
No, yeah, but I would have walked around the arcade while you were playing a game or something like that. I may have said like, hey, like smarten up or something if you're fucking around.
No, I never fucked around. I didn't fuck around.
Well, then I don't know. Did you guys sit in this? So you always sat in the non. And you know what? Like when I look back to that restaurant, 2/3 of the restaurant was smoking, 1/3 was non-smoking, and there was nothing to differentiate. It's just like here.
Well, it just didn't waft over there.
Fuck yeah, just smoke. Why aren't you smoking? It's basically society at that point in restaurants was like, why aren't you smoking? Because you're gonna get it anyways.
I miss smoking.
I love smoking.
I too love smoking. Anyways, Dave, fun show tonight. We kind of just went on and on and on.
Well, we floated, we pontificated, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring a different aspect to your everyday thinking. Yeah,
no, it was fun. It's it's odd. Like you get thinking and stuff and things. And anyways, we'll talk about that on Monday. Anyways, the 14-20. Hey, you're not going to Montana anymore.
We're not going to Montana anymore. Like in the massive wisdom of baseball tryouts here in Lethbridge, Alberta. On Tuesday, they told us that there was tryouts for Jasper on Sunday. So, for people that make their plans less than 4 days in advance, that's great.
That has nothing to do. Anyways, the 14-20 Sports Bar Podcast, Fort Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Take care of each other. One part. Take care of yourself. Need you around. Keep singing this. Well, Steve.
I don't want to see Jim swing at high pitches, and my in-laws are going to take the weekend so you can still get your righteous felon beef jerky. It's coming.
Have a good night, folks. Talk to you again on Monday night.
Have a good night, everybody. Keep punching, Jimmy. I love that fucking. He's killing it on the lead-out music. Just fucking killing it. Yeah.
For 376 these guys.
Oh, he's really stepped up his lead-out music. Attaboy, Jim. Honestly, keep punching.